right back from the school days, I've had a great passion for influencing, inspiring people through the power of the spoken word. And since then, from then, 23-year-old journey in music, 3 studio albums, 500 plus live concerts, gigs at the MCG, at the SCG. I learned from quite a few people. So Shankarji taught me a lot. When I performed with him on stage, I learned a lot. So I've had the fortune of collaborating with a number of people in the Bollywood or popular music side of stuff. Sunny Lewis, Sagar, so many to name. You know, Melbourne is truly blessed and I am blessed. Good day everyone, my name is Shriram Iyer, also known as Shayer in the musical circles. I live here in Melbourne, Australia with my wife and daughter, and I am an inspirational speaker and peak performance coach, also dabbling as a singer-songwriter and a published novelist.
What do you do for a living?
I work as an inspirational speaker and peak performance coach, which is what I do for a living. For many years, even right back from the school days, I've had a great passion for influencing, inspiring people through the power of the spoken word. Now, again, starting with my mother, who is an English teacher, I've been inspired by people who speak well, people who hold themselves well on a stage, great charisma, be it the Barack Obamas, or even the Narendra Modis, who speak well and can influence and captivate people. They've always fascinated me. And by God's grace, I have had the gift of the gab and a deep interest in Western psychology and ancient Indian wisdom. So I combine the two, East meets West, if you may. And I have a program called How to Perform Like a Supercar. So I deliver keynotes, I deliver workshops, and I also deliver coaching programs to organizations in India and in Australia, and to some individuals as well. So that's what I do, that's my primary hat. But as most people know, in Melbourne and in the Indian community here, I also dabble as a musician, as a singer-songwriter and a novelist. So there are a few hats that I wear, but principally to answer your question, I'm an inspirational speaker and a peak performance coach.
Have you undergone any formal training in music? Can you share with us your musical journey?
Sure. So my musical journey begins on a hot summer day in India when I was a 12-year-old boy, summer vacation, schools, 2 months. You play a lot of cricket, you read a lot of books, Archie's Jughead, and then comes my aunt, and she brings with her 2 cassettes. Back in those days, as you know, we had cassettes. One was Kashmir Ki Kali and one was Tum Sa Nahi Dekha. And there I fell in love with the trio Shami Kapoor, Mohammad Rafi and Shankar Jaikishan. So in those holidays, you won't believe it, I learned every single song on each of those cassettes. And I would go around singing it and everyone said, wow, you sound really good. Why don't you do something more? And there started the journey of me performing. But truth be told, things took a great turn when I migrated to New Zealand with my parents. So small family, father, mother and me, only child. And I went to New Zealand to study my engineering, to complete my engineering, which I had started in India. And there was a singing competition which I took part and won. And before I knew it, doors were opening. I was singing every weekend in New Zealand. A few years later, Shankar Mahadevan happened in my life, where I performed with him in a live concert, and he was greatly interested in my voice and in my music, and he encouraged me to keep composing. He heard a few of my compositions and he said, बहुत अच्छा compose करते हो, बहुत अच्छा गाते भी हो खुद के compositions. So तुम album बनाओ and I will come release it. So I said, great. So 2 years later, I kept up my word and he kept up his. So I worked with Ricky Cage in Bangalore. We recorded stuff in his studio. And the album was primarily produced by Dr. Prakash Sontake. And I produced my first album. I went to Shankarji and I said, here's the album. And you said, you'll release it. And he said, sure. Sadhana Sargam also sang on the album with me, all my compositions. So I like writing my own stuff. I like composing my own songs. That was my first foray into the pop world. It went on MTV, on Channel V. I was Artist of the Fortnight on B4U. And I got my first taste of what it feels like to be a pop artist. And since then, from then, 23-year-old journey in music, 3 studio albums, 500 plus live concerts, gigs at the MCG, at the SCG. And in that time, I learned from quite a few people. So Shankarji taught me a lot. When I performed with him on stage, I learned a lot. A few other masters and mentors taught me a lot of things. But formally, I did not learn from a guru. There was a brief period where I learned for about 6 months from Ustad Aminul Haq, who's a direct disciple of Kishoriya Monkarji. But apart from that, I didn't formally learn. It's more of I hear something I like and I try to reproduce that.
Staying in Melbourne, are there any limitations in your growth as a musician?
So Melbourne is a wonderfully vibrant community. So like I shared with you, Auckland really was the place where my music took off. It was the launch pad, if you may. And in the 8 years I was there, I would have done more than 300 concerts, more than 300 live performances in Auckland. And then I moved to Melbourne. This was after I had released my first album, Is Dhund Mein. And I thought, wow, I've got so many runs on the board, and MBA student, album, Shankar Mahadevan, Sadhana Sargam. But I realized that I had to start from ground zero. So literally, those 8 years didn't seem to matter much. So I was calling organizers, and they said, well, we don't know who you are. You're going to have to prove and earn your stripes again from scratch. So it was an interesting experience, but Melbourne was very welcoming. So I've been here for 15 years. Within the first year or two, the community really embraced my music, and they gave me tremendous opportunities. And in 2019, of course, I got to meet my mentor again, Shankar Mahadevanji, and I performed with him, with Shankar Ehsaan Loy at Melbourne Exhibition Convention Centre, which was a wonderful full circle. Like it started for me in Auckland with him, and then in 2019 we did something else with him. So it was wonderful, and Melbourne has just been full of love. And here's where the Grammy chapter happened, where I became a Grammy voting member and submitted my songs. So I have a great deal of respect for what the community in Melbourne has given. Challenges-wise, look, I'm placed here. Geographical challenges exist because the music industry is very vibrant in Mumbai. So you really have to be in Mumbai to make the most of it. But because I do it as a side hustle, it's not my primary source of income or livelihood. Being in Melbourne really works for me. So,
have you collaborated with any local artist in Melbourne?
So again, Melbourne, the richness in music is unimaginable. The caliber of artists is quite extraordinary, to be honest. And every year, it's been 15 years, and I think to myself, wow, I know a lot of musicians here, but somewhere there'll be one hidden talent that will suddenly explode onto the scene, and you go, wow, where was this person all this time? So I've had the fortune of collaborating with a number of people in the Bollywood or popular music side of stuff, which is where I perform. I have a number of bands and musicians that I worked with. And then there's the semi-classical, the ghazals, the classical side of stuff. So we had a band where I performed with the likes of Jay Dabgar, who's a wonderful tabla musician, Ravi Madhavan, who's a multi-talented musician that I work frequently with, Nitin Tora, wonderful guitarist, Sunny Lewis, Sagar, so many to name. Melbourne is truly blessed, and I am blessed to have the opportunity to perform with these people on stage. So number of collaborations and many more to come.
Can you share a memorable experience or performance in Melbourne that holds a special place in your heart?
Yes, so I did mention this. So I would like to go back to July 2019, where I was meeting the legend and now Grammy Award winner and Padma Shri, Shankar Mahadevanji. Since I'd come to Melbourne, I'd shared with many people, look, I've performed with Shankarji, he's been my mentor, he's been my guide, he released my first album, and so on. And everyone heard me out going, okay, fine, right, fine, we hear you. But there's show and then there's tell. And I got an opportunity in 2019 when he was here as Shankar Ehsaan Loy. And I've spent a number of hours in their studio in Bombay, Purple Haze studio, watching the recording of Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna. And I've met directors Nikhil Advani, Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra there when they were doing the music for Bhag Milkha Bhag. So I've met Shankar Ehsaan Loy, but I had never performed with them. Shankarji, yes. And when the concert happened at Melbourne Exhibition Convention Centre, I was the MC, so I had access to Shankarji. And we met, and it was like we had, never lost touch. We'd known each other for 14 years at that time. And he said, we haven't sung together. It's been a while. Why don't we do something? This was at the interval break. And I said, okay, what do you want to sing? And he said, let's do Koi Kahe. So it's a song we had done before, actually, in Bangalore. And I went, sure. I was unrehearsed, but I was prepared because I was always ready for these opportunities. And sure enough, the opportunity came and I grabbed it. The music-loving people of Melbourne finally got to see me perform and share the stage with Shankarji and see the affection that he had for me firsthand. So it was a very heartwarming night for me going, finally I was able to perform with him in Melbourne. So in terms of memorable experiences, there have been so many, but this one would top the list. This one would be the most memorable experience.
How do you see your musical journey unfolding in Melbourne in coming years?
So lots of exciting things to look forward to. My projects are divided into either live concerts or recording projects. So as you know, last year, the Recording Academy, the Grammys, they invited me to join as a Grammy voting member, which meant that I could not only vote on nominations and final winners, but also submit my own work. So there is a big focus on my recording work. And for Valentine's Day, I released a song of mine, a music video of mine, which we shot called Har Pal. So that's a project I'm going to do this year. And later this year, I will be working on submissions to the Grammys for the 2024 year. So that's cooking, that's happening in 2024. Talking about what lies ahead, number of albums that are in various stages of production. And I would like to go on tours. So, there are certain concepts that we're working on for the spiritual side, as well as the popular music side, where I will be singing a lot of my work. So some tours and some more albums, and lots of collaborations to look forward to in Melbourne. So exciting times, so stay tuned. And currently I'm excited about Har Pal, which is the flavor of the season right now with Valentine's Day and love being in the air. So it's a song that we worked on for a number of years. I'm just happy that it's out.
Who is your inspiration?
So in terms of life, I get a lot of inspiration from my parents because they laid the foundation, be it my speaking, be it my singing. They supported it unconditionally. So I gain a lot of inspiration from them. There's obviously my wife, who again has supported me with limitless love. My daughter, who is probably my biggest fan, and she loves Dada's songs. But I get a lot of power and inspiration from the Almighty, from God. And I believe that I've been given this voice by the grace of God, and I should use it in a way that God feels proud of how I use a gift given by Him. So all my source of inspiration really, end of the day, comes from God.
What is success?
So success is an interesting definition. I did an entire workshop on secrets of success, and we spent half an hour discussing that, which I won't today. But according to me, success is very individualistic. I should get to define my success and not the world. We often seek acclaim, adulation, applause from the world outside, from a validation perspective. But I believe that I have everything I need, be it love, respect. So I get to define success. And somebody had this on their WhatsApp and I loved it. Success is doing what you love. As simple as that.
What is happiness?
Happiness, the H word. Again, we can spend a number of days talking about happiness, but according to me, happiness is a choice. So you must have heard of the term positive affirmations. And my positive affirmation is I am complete, switched on, and happy now. So no longer do I give the power of happiness to objects, experiences, and people. I choose it every second of the day. So happiness A is a choice, and happiness B is a cause, not just the effect. We think multi-million-dollar house, happiness, big car, happiness, promotion at work, happiness. But actually, if the happiness comes to the cause side, then we will actually manifest a lot of goals in life as it is. But we often just see happiness as an effect. Happiness is actually a cause. I'd love to sing a couple of lines of my song called Har Pal. So it's actually part of an album I released in February last year called Yours Truly, Shayer, which is my stage name because there are a number of Shriram Iyers who sing, so I had to differentiate myself. So it's Yours Truly, Shayer, and but we developed a music video for it this year, which has been cooking for a while, and finally we put it out on Valentine's Day, and I'll sing a couple of lines. हर पल हर दम हर लम्हा हर शाम हर रात हर सुबह खोया रहूं मैं तेरी यादों में तेरी राहों में तेरी बातों में तेरी बाहों में रे गा गा पापा मामा गा रे गा गा पापा मामा गा रे सा रे गा रे सा नि सा हर पल हर दम हर लम्हा हर शाम हर रात हर सुबह हर पल हर दम हर लम्हा. I am Shriram Iyer, and this is my story.